Okay, well, we'll take one more call and then go to break. Hi, you're on the air.
Hello. I didn't catch the gentleman's name. I tuned in later. My name is Shay.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Lee.
Hi, Lee. I have a proposition maybe that would further your cause. If the symbol of the flag is as precious as you say, then it maybe shouldn't be printed and distributed on such easily accessible items. You might want to make it like a gun, have a waiting period. So that,
you know, there's a
all
difference.
I'm saying is, if I buy a flag and it's my property, then it should be mine to do with what I want. And now, I have to go. I'm at work, so why don't you respond to that, and I'll hang up and I'll listen on the radio. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thanks for your call. Appreciate it.
And what she's saying is, if she buys a flag, and she should be able to do with it what she wants. Is that my understanding of that concept?
Basically, that's the way I understand it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, our society believes the possession of a flag and the responsibility of it. When you buy it, you have some small measure of dignity and respect. You really, what you own is the cloth, but the flag belongs to the nation.
Well, how far do you want to go with calling?
Now, wait a second.
All right.
If you have and you get into this, here's an interesting thing, Ron. If you have a tie on that has an image of the replica of the American flag,
You're starting to bring up the question I was going to ask.
is that an American flag?
Is it? Yes. What if you have a pair of underwear or a shirt?
Is that an American flag?
Right.
Or is it a pair of boxer shorts?
Is it?
Is it an American flag?
I'm asking you.
Well, you see,
I mean, how far do you want to go in calling it desecration if you have a...
Well, I mean, some of the people, would like to say that, but the fact of the matter is that it's a picture of a flag. It is not a flag. A flag is what is commonly displayed on a flagpole. And a pair of shorts or a tie or a jacket or a sweater is not something you would normally run up the flagpole. Therefore, it's a silly argument. I mean, and I think you would agree to that. That's a silly argument. I can certainly, the people that are involved in this campaign, the 80% of Americans can see beyond what is a flag and what's a pair of boxer shorts.
Okay, well, I think I have seen shorts put up the flagpole. We have to take a break. We're talking with, we do have a line open, by the way. We're talking with Lee Harris with the national headquarters of the American Legion about the proposed constitutional amendment preventing desecration of the American
News Talk,
flag.
AM 1230, KPRL with Paul Harvey 3 times daily. It's interactive radio with Kevin Will and Ron Fisher on the Morning Exchange. America's #1 radio talk show host, Rush Limbaugh. Ron Fisher with Sound Off, the county's longest-running talk show. From Washington, D.C., it's the G-Man, the G. Gordon Liddy Show. From 4 till 7, take on your day with Dr. Laura. Tune it in and lock it in to the right choice. News Talk, AM 1230, KPRL.
We're talking with Lee Harris. He is with the national headquarters of the American Legion. We're talking about the proposed constitutional amendment to ban desecration of the flag. And let's go right to the phones. Hi, you're on the air.
Hi. I'm so sick of you people changing our Constitution every time we turn around. I have American flag sitting in my front room that was draped over my brother's coffin, who died for our country. And I want the right to be able to burn it if I can. But you turn around and you say, no, you can't do this. What did he die for? What did he die for? He died for our freedom. And you want to change it. It's the same thing as when we go to the polls and we vote and we make the American people say, this is what we want, and then a few group of people go say, hey, we don't like that, so we're going to change it, and they take it to court and they change our vote. Don't we have any voting rights anymore? Did you take a poll on how many people want this changed?
Certainly.
And what was the result?
80%.
They want it where you cannot burn the American flag.
They believe that the American flag is special and that it is deserving of the protection that it had for 200 years prior to the Supreme Court taking that protection away.
I believe it's special. Very much so, because my brother died for it. But it's only a piece of cloth.
No, it's much more than a piece of cloth.
It's a piece of cloth. That's all it is. That by burning it doesn't change what it means. It's just a piece of cloth. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for
Thank you for calling.
238-5775, 238-KPRL. We're talking with Lee Harris with the American Legion. Just as a matter of procedure, since we're talking, I mean, you say 80%. kind of doesn't seem that way with the reaction we're getting here. And like I say, this is a conservative area. When we get down to whether people will, how much of a say, should this get to that point, people will have in it, 2/3 of the states of the nation have to ratify this. Will that happen in the legislature, or will there be votes taken? And
it's ratified in the legislature.
Well, okay, and I say that because, as I mentioned the other day on the air, it has to be difficult for a politician to come out and be opposed to this. So the people actually won't have a say.
It's an interesting thing, too, and you know, you look at various, let's look at California politics. Dianne Feinstein is a co-sponsor of the bill. Mm-hmm. And there is a lady that, from my years of living in California, I would have never considered would have supported this measure, because I believe she's a very liberal senator. Yeah. But she is a co-sponsor of the bill.
Well, I think that makes my point, though, that it's difficult for politicians to take a stand. You know, it would be to take a stand against something like this.
Well, when the Supreme Court ruled in 1989, when they made this ruling, it was an overwhelming vote in the House and the Senate. It wasn't even 2/3. It was like 98-2 in the Senate, and you know, very, very high in the House, to create a statute to protect the flag. Okay? Mm-hmm. So the politicians then understood that the American people wanted a law because they wanted to protect the flag because there was such a hue and cry about it. What is interesting today is that you have the House has passed it, but the Senate has turned it down once and is looking at it again this year. Why, if they wanted the law in 1989 and 1990, why are they unable to support a very narrowly drawn constitutional amendment that would allow, all it does is allow the federal government, if it so chooses, to write into law what they wrote into law and was found unconstitutional prior?
Okay,
it's a very frustrating thing from my point of view, because this lady who called and her brother who died in service to the country, and she has his flag. You know, we don't know what he died for. Whether he died for freedom, he died for the country, and he died for the rights and responsibilities of citizenship that flag represents while he was there. But at the time he died, the American people had the right to protect their flag.
Yeah, okay. Hi, you're on the air.
Hi. I just want to go on record as one of the 80% that is in support of this. Mm-hmm. I'm tired of people calling in against it. And so I just wanted to say I'm in full support. I think the flag is a symbol of our country, and in actuality, as a symbol, it's almost like it's one and the same. Do you understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. And to desecrate the flag is to say to hell with America, in my estimation. And that's just the way I feel.
Okay.
I want to go in support.
Thanks for your call.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear from the other side.
Okay, well, let's see if you have another one. Hi, you're on the air.
Hello. I just wanted to kind of get something clarified a little bit, because he was stating that if it's like a pin, like a tie pin, or printed on a T-shirt or printed on some article of clothing, that's not considered a flag.
No, it's not. It's a picture of a flag, or it's something else. A flag, when people look at it, and according to Black's Law Book, the Congress rarely agrees on anything, but in 1989 the term of the flag was that any flag of the U.S. or part of one, or any substance or size in a form commonly displayed. And so you're not talking about ties with flags or birthday cakes with flags. You're talking about something that is in a form commonly displayed on a flagpole.
Oh, but on a T-shirt, if you cut it out, then all of a sudden it would be a flag.
Well, yes and no. Yeah, I suppose you would be right at that point in time.
But I mean, my point that I'm trying to get across here is the fact that if that's not considered a flag, then a person who wanted to, and I think this is wrong myself, but I'm not in favor of the amendment, but I still think it's wrong to desecrate the flag, but they could then burn their T-shirt, which is burning a symbol of the flag, and maybe get their point across, but then that wouldn't be against the law.
Correct. I mean, from that perspective, yes.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for your call.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I don't envision ever in the wildest dreams of flag police running around the country either. I don't see that as the kind of thing that we would have. I think that this as you go through all of this, it gets right back down to who runs this country. Is it the people of this country that run the country, or is it 9 members of the U.S. Supreme Court who were never elected and appointed for life and are not infallible?
Okay, see if I can get one more call in. Hi, you're on the air.
Yes. As far as the flag, it's really a freedom of speech issue, and I mean that's one of the first 10 amendments, and the flag represents the country, and it represents the Constitution, and it represents the ability to say what you want, even though people don't approve. And if that includes doing terrible things to the flag, that is one of the things that we have to protect, not go off on the other side.
See, I disagree with you. You've just said everything is freedom of speech and you're free to say what you want, but since when does it say you can do despicable conduct and the American public has to accept that? That doesn't make sense.
Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that we should guarantee the rights for Nazis to march down the streets?
They're already protected to march down the street.
Do you think that should be guaranteed?
Hey, as long as they don't break the law, doesn't mean I agree with them.
Okay, now that's a despicable thing.
Well, in some cases.
But we're guaranteeing that.
Yeah, but
so we're going to pick and choose about what we're going to guarantee.
On that note,
you're full of baloney.
No, they're walking down the street in freedom of speech.
Losing control here. We're out of time.
Yeah, that's freedom of speech. Exactly.
All right.
Burning a flag or defecating on a flag steps beyond the freedom of speech. And I take it, Ron, that you're trying to pull the plug here.
I am pulling the plug because they're going to pull the plug because we got network news coming up. I can't do it. We're out of time. Thank you, sir. See ya.